The first thing Rosie felt was the sting of rough rope cutting into her wrist. The dim shack smelled of smoke and fear. Dust tangled her hair, and her torn dress clung to her bruised skin. Across from her stood Clay Mercer, tall, cruel, and grinning. His crooked smile and burning eyes told her everything. On the table lay a forged paper. He slammed it down and growled, "Sign this, and your suffering ends." Rosie trembled but lifted her chin. Her voice barely a whisper, "I will not." The words hung between them like a fragile thread of courage. Clay's grin deepened, cruel satisfaction in his eyes. He leaned close, breath heavy with whiskey. "You think you have a choice?" From the fire, he lifted a branding iron, glowing red. The heat shimmered inches from her skin. Rosie recoiled, eyes wide with terror. The chair creaked as she struggled, her wrists burning. "You sign, or you hang," Clay snarled, slamming the paper against her chest. The iron hissed against wood beside her head, sparks leaping as Rosie screamed. Clay grabbed her roughly, dragging her from the shack. The prairie sun blinded her. The dry wind tore her dress. Dust and heat wrapped around her as he marched her toward a lonely tree. He threw the rope over a branch and pulled tight. Rosie's bare feet lifted from the ground. "This is justice for a girl who dares defy me!" Clay shouted, watching her twist helplessly in the burning light. Rosie gasped for breath. The rope bit deep into her neck and arms. Her body ached, her vision blurred. She thought of her lost family, of the quiet life she might never know. As the wind howled through the prairie, Rosie whispered into the emptiness, "I will give you everything. Just let me live." Her voice trembled, fading into the hot, endless air. Far away, a lone rider slowed his horse. Dust rose beneath hooves. The man's sharp eyes caught the movement of a girl swaying from a tree. The prairie had carried her prayer far enough. Harland Reed sat tall in the saddle, his weathered face carved by time and sun. 56 years of dust and hard living had made him unbreakable. But the sight before him, a young girl hanging from a tree, hit him harder than any bullet. He dismounted slowly, boots crunching over brittle grass. His every movement deliberate, calm, like a man who had seen danger before. The bowie knife at his belt gleamed in the sun. The prairie wind carried only silence. Through the haze of pain, Rosie saw him. Her vision blurred, but her heart stirred. A stranger, yet somehow a savior. "I'll give you everything," she whispered, voice weak and shaking. "Just save me." Harland said nothing. One clean, practiced motion, his knife sliced the rope. The line snapped. Rosie fell, but he caught her before she touched the ground. Her body trembled in his arms like a wounded bird. She was light, far too light. Bruised and trembling, she clung to him as if the world might disappear. "You're safe now," he murmured, rough voice low and steady. Her tears soaked into his shirt, silent and endless. A sharp crack split the still air, a branch breaking somewhere behind them. Harland's instincts flared. That wasn't the wind. He gently set Rosie down, hand drifting toward his knife. The prairie grew still, waiting. From the brush stepped Clay Mercer, revolver swinging in his hand, that crooked smile cutting across his face. "So the old rancher thinks he's a hero," he sneered. "Cutting down my prize before I had my fun." Harland's knife hung low at his side, his eyes hard as steel. "Put the gun away, Clay," he warned. Clay only laughed, spitting dust. "The law. You think the law cares about her?" He cocked the hammer. Rosie froze. "You tied her up. You forged papers." "That's kidnapping and fraud," Harland said evenly. Clay's grin faltered. His eyes darted to Rosie. "You told him, didn't you?" She shook her head, but the truth was clear. Clay cursed and raised the gun. Harland moved first, a flash of steel. The knife struck Clay's hand. The gun dropped. Harland tackled him hard, pressing him into the dirt. With the same rope that bound Rosie, he tied Clay's wrists tight. Clay Mercer spat into the dust, but his fight was gone. Harland pulled him upright, his grip firm as iron. The outlaw's wrists strained against the rope, but he didn't resist. The prairie was silent except for the sound of harsh breathing and the restless snort of Harland's mare. "We're taking him to the marshal," Harland said coldly. "Let the law see his face and his lies." Rosie swayed on her feet, still weak but standing. Her eyes followed Harland, her savior and stranger all at once. "Thank you," she whispered, clutching his arm for balance. "Without you, I'd be gone. I'll give you everything I have left if you'll stay beside me." Harland turned to her, eyes steady and kind. "You don't owe me anything," he said softly. "You just keep standing." The prairie wind carried their silence like a vow. Behind them, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the golden grass. The day was dying, but something inside Rosie was coming alive again. Harland tied Clay to his mare's saddle, the rope tight and sure. Rosie walked beside them, her steps uneven but growing stronger. Each mile toward the marshal's office felt like a mile toward freedom. She glanced at the outlaw, bound and scowling. "Do you think the law will listen to me?" Harland nodded without hesitation. "You've got your truth," he said, "and I'll stand by it. That's enough." Rosie looked back at the rope trailing in the dust, the same rope that had once stolen her breath. Now it was harmless, dragging behind them like a reminder of what she'd endured and overcome. But the prairie was never still. The wind carried whispers, of vengeance, of unfinished business. Clay's eyes burned with quiet hatred as he rode bound behind them. His lips twisted into a thin, dangerous smile. Harland didn't notice. His thoughts were on Rosie, the strength it took to keep walking after the world had tried to break her. He'd seen women give up for less, but she kept going, step after step through the dust. Beneath the fading light, something passed between them, respect, and the faint beginning of something like love. The prairie stretched ahead, endless and wild. But behind them, vengeance was already stirring. Clay Mercer wasn't finished. And neither was Rosie.